Hey Who fans, welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're episode 133.
133.
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm, and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Howdy, howdy do, Who fans. Hope you've had a cracking week and that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related. Coming up in today's show, we need to talk about the trailer.
Yes.
The new trailer that dropped. I think it dropped during the rugby or the football. No, it was a football half-time, wasn't it?
It was the football, wasn't it? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. So that'll be good. We'll talk through that. I think that's the bulk of our news, actually. We've got just a single piece of merch, and then on to our review, our concluding story of the 9th Doctor two-parter. The Doctor Dances.
Yeah, looking forward to concluding that review after the first part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes down, leaving two-parters across 3 weeks. Like leaving, going back to Classic Week and then picking it up. We'll see.
Yeah.
See how it goes. But how have you been, buddy?
Good. Yeah, it's a glorious day. We are filming. I feel like we should be recording outside,
yes.
like on a deck chair in our shorts, because it is glorious. It probably won't be on Friday when the podcast goes out, but it's glorious out there. I'm staring out to beautiful sunshine, so everyone's happy when the sun's out, aren't they? We were saying this at work yesterday. Everyone's more smiley when the sun's out. Yeah. Just picks people up. So no, I'm really good, mate. Thanks. I should tell our listeners. I was going to say our viewers. I should tell our listeners. We are both rocking our Big Blue Box podcast T-shirts today. Obviously, we didn't know before we kicked off, but I had a sneaky feeling. I thought, well, mine's arrived. I bet Gary's has arrived. So there's a good chance we're both going to be wearing it. So I tried to do the two doctors thing where they both go snap out of time. When we saw each other this morning, and we kind of did, didn't we? We were both like snap, snap.
we purposely did it not at the same time to emulate the cock up in the episode.
Two doctors.
But we're rocking the matching T-shirt. So I've got the black version. You've got the dark navy.
Yes,
which looks great.
The dark navy. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
I might have to get that one as well because it does look really nice in the navy.
It does.
The Navy.
Actually, I never thought of that. In the Navy. So yeah, both rocking our T-shirts, and I've got my mug. I'm slurping out of my Blue Box mug. So I feel very official now. I feel like we've made it. We've got T-shirts and mugs. We've made it.
We've been there and bought the T-shirt quite literally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So other than that, I'm all good. I had a couple of other little good things through the post as well as my T-shirt. I think you might have got this as well, actually. The Jago and Lightfoot Series 1 box set turned up, which is good. I haven't had a chance to listen to any of it yet, have you?
I haven't even downloaded it or unwrapped it yet, mate.
No.
It's on the shelf.
Mine. Yeah. I thought I'd check it. I thought, well, he's probably been in Big Finish's warehouse for a good few years. I better just check the discs and all that sort of stuff. So, no, it's all pristine and perfect. I was really pleased to get that. And the first thing I thought is, I can't wait to listen to this. I haven't listened to a single bit yet. Yeah. But I am looking forward to that. What else come with it? I got a couple of the new Doctor Who figures as well, actually, arrived at the same time. I love it when you get a few little parcels. They're actually pretty decent because, so the figures are, you've got the 10th Doctor in his tux and two variations of the 12th Doctor. I remember saying, like, when these were announced, how boring it was. I was like, 10th in tux, how out of date is that? He's actually really good in hand, I have to say. It's a really nice figure. So I sort of take it back now. I've actually got the physical thing. He looks pretty cool. As for the two Doctors ones, they're a vast improvement on that dreadful 12th Doctor figure we got. Was it last year or the year before? I don't know if did you ever see it? It looked nothing like it. Was dreadful.
Yeah.
They did about 10 variations of it, basically the same mold, just painted his shirt different color and stuff. This is a vast improvement, and again, he looks pretty cool. They've actually got his features a bit more on this one, so you can, it does look like a Powdy, which is good. And he's got his checkered trousers from what's that Dalek story? The first one, Magician's Apprentice.
No,
is it? Which is I don't know.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the one with Missy and all the Daleks. Yes, he's got his checker trousers. So they arrived. So it's really cool. I got a couple of little Doctor Who parcels all arrived on the same day from different places. So that was good. But I haven't really been up to much else, mate, to be honest. No. No, apart from that, the other thing was Doctor Who magazine arrived with a glorious John Hurt cover. I don't know if you've picked that up yet.
I've not. No, I know. I've seen the cover though. It looks quite nice.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Another good cracking issue from them. So I have been reading a little bit of that. But apart from that, mate, not a lot else going on this end, really. What about yourself?
A quiet one for me, mate. Yeah, not much going on. I've watched the Series 10 trailer more times than I can count now. Got Jago and Lightfoot, unwrapped that, got it on the shelf, where it'll probably stay on the shelf because I listen to the digital version, I assume.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's so handy, mate. I had a few comments. I think it was last week or the week before when I said that I was going to move away from buying discs from Big Finish.
Yeah.
Although I'll still buy the box sets, like if it's like Doom Coalition or Dark Eyes, and Jago and Lightfoot, like the cool looking box sets, I'll still get those, but just the single releases I'll probably move to the digital downloads. And had a couple of people say that they were thinking about that also. Just because mainly due to space, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's I think that sort of confirmed my decision to do that. I think I'll move away from discs.
I can understand it because, funny enough, we just had some building work done this week, and I had to clear everything away, as you might have saw on my Facebook, which included the loft. Now, up in the loft, I'd found a load of Big Finish CDs. Most of them I have down on my shelf, but I'd put, for some reason, again due to space, I guess, I'd put all the Companion Chronicles ones up there because they were a bit bitty. I'd got ones missing, and I thought, well, they can go up there for now, and I'd sort of forgotten about them. So now the building work's done, it's quite nice because that's sort of like a clean slate to work from, if you like, because I'd had to clear my lovely shelf of Doctor Who things. So I've started putting everything back, but I started putting it back in a new way. So in other words, like where I had 3 shelves of Big Finish, or 3 lines, I've sort of rearranged it, so I've managed to fit more in. So I have a feeling that my unit upstairs is either going to fall through the floor or just collapse under the weight. But I've managed to fit like 2 more racks of Big Finish CDs that were in the loft in onto my shelf.
Wow, right.
The other half is not pleased. It looks like a CD shop up there. But it's cool because I just look at it thinking I've got my Big Finish shelf back because it's sort of depleted a little bit.
Right.
Due to space, and it was taken over, but due to a bit of rearranging, I've managed to squeeze a bit more on. So yeah, but again, I know what you mean about the space though, because I do keep looking at it thinking, I love it, but it does look cluttered. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I love it because I think, oh, look at all those Big Finish CDs. But anyone coming into the house would look at it and think, oh, look at all them CDs. Like, who has CDs these nowadays, So I totally get where you're coming from with the space. And I can't fit any more on there. So I would never go over to digital only. But, yeah, I'll have to be a bit more selective in what I buy, I think.
I read you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's cool as well about having all of the digital downloads, which you'd get anyway, even if you purchased the CD. But it looks really good when you open iTunes. And your library on there is just like flooded with like Big Finish and Doctor Who. So that looks cool as well. I like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a bit like the app, actually. I downloaded the Big Finish app last year because they totally redid it. I think they got somebody in to redo the app because it didn't, from what I understand, it didn't used to be that great.
It didn't.
So they redeveloped it, didn't they, last year? And so I downloaded it. It's a free app. Yeah, and I'm like, I just love opening it because it just puts them all nicely in order and you can see your whole collection on your phone or whatever. It is great.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason. Yeah. And, to not really worry about sort of CDs at the moment. Don't get me wrong. There is a little part of me that's, a bit nostalgic and likes the physical stuff. But there is a case, to say that it's worthwhile going to digital, because you do save yourself a couple of quid with every purchase. And also you've kind of got all your bases covered. So for me, I'm somebody that works from home for my job. I've got everything here on, backed up on my hard drive, and it's, iTunes syncs, everything's lovely. And then when you go out and about, you just, get the app out, as you said. You've got your whole library there as well when you're out on the go. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's good. The only downside of how I've arranged my CDs now is that I can't put my books. I used to have all my Doctor Who books, so I'd have my CDs and I'd have my books on top of them. But I can't do that now because I've stacked things differently, so the books no longer fit on top. So I've now, although I've got more CDs up there, I now have nowhere for my books. And I know you can relate to this because you've got loads of books as well. And I literally have nowhere for all my Doctor Who books, and that's my big dilemma at the minute, is what to do. I was saying I had this grand idea of creating a giant library up in the loft. I was like, how about we put some units up there, and I can have all my books. But apparently that's a no because it's hard to explain. Our loft is sort of open, so you can see up into it. So it's all a bit weird. So, yeah, apparently I'm not allowed that. I just had visions of like the TARDIS library, just having loads and loads of Doctor Who books up there. But it's not going to happen. So
I read you, mate.
Yeah.
Just to touch on shelving and stuff like that, it's people don't realise that this is a real life problem. It's not just something to be taken lightly, where it's like, I'll just move that shelf. Or I'll just move that stuff, and do whatever. This is a proper OCD struggle for you and I. And I'm assuming a lot of other Doctor Who collectors and so on, because the other day I saw that Eagle Moss has now released a bespoke stand.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
that you can pop, I think it's up to 10 figures on. And I thought, well, now that there's a proper stand available, I might get that and, order a bunch of figures, and and they'll look quite nice on there. Because some of the Eagle Moss figures, did you post one of the it's
the Ice Lord.
The Ice Lord. He looks,
I can't think of his name.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, he really is good. He's a really good figure.
Yeah. Because some of the earlier Eagle Moss figures, I think that's why I never sort of got into that whole figurine thing, because some of them did look a bit dodge.
Oh, they did.
Funny
enough, I found a couple in the loft when we were clearing out. It's really strange. I found the first three.
Oh, right.
Which I'd boned up. So there's Matt Smith, a Weeping Angel, I think, and
is it a Dalek? No, Cyberman.
No, it's the what's the name? The Solarian.
Oh, yes, yeah.
With the gun.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is. And it's really bad. It's funny because the Matt Smith one, who was issue 1, I believe, looks terrible. It looks awful. And I was thinking they definitely have got better.
They have.
In recent years. Because, I stopped buying them not because they were bad, but because of the service from Eagle Moss themselves. They were just dreadful. So I stopped getting them from Eagle Moss, and the shops only tend to stock the first few. But I do sometimes pick up, if there's a figure I think looks good, like they have got some cracking ones coming out, actually. They've got the guy from Battlefield, the blue monster, the horned monster.
Yes.
From Battlefield. He's coming out. He's a definite buy. So if there's a good figure coming, I just back order them from FP, and touch wood. They've been all right in terms of they haven't arrived broken, and they've actually turned up in a reasonable time. So I must admit they've definitely upped their game, I think.
They have,
in terms of the quality.
And I was thinking of grabbing some just a bunch of figures, because the actual Ice Warrior, just the normal one, looks really good. The Ood looks fantastic.
I don't think I've seen him.
He looks really good. There's obviously a couple of Daleks. Davros looks pretty good. General Stahl, Zontaran, he looks really good. So there was a bunch on there that I thought, I'll pick a few up. But then that's when I started to debate with myself, because where's that going to go on the shelf? Because if I put it there, that means I'm going to have to move that stuff. And where's that stuff going to go? So do I need some shelves, more shelves put up? Do I need another bookcase? What's going on? So it is a continual sort of circle of doom.
It's a dilemma, isn't it? And also think about it like this as well, because the quality may have gone up, but so has the price, because they're now $8.99 each. I think they were $6.99 when they started, and they were definitely $7.99 for a while. They're now $8.99 each. So you think about it, you buy 3 or 4 of those little figures, you could have bought yourself one giant Robert Harrop figure.
Oh,
is what I was thinking the other day. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, because I love picking up these little figures, but I was thinking, hang on, you don't, $8.99 doesn't sound a lot. You think, oh, it's only $8.99, but which would I rather have? 4 of those little tiny little figures that do break quite easily, or one lovely Robert Harrop figure. So I'm trying to be, it's difficult, and I know you're the same, right? It's difficult for me to resist picking up these little things, but looking at the bigger picture, I'm trying to rein it in a bit and just think, yeah,
mate,
think of the two together. Which would I rather have?
See, this is why we all need a buddy that understands this stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I said to my missus, right, I'm just going to pick up a bunch of these figures, she'll be like, okay. But, need someone that's going to be like, well, Gary, hold on. Have you considered this? So that's an eye-opener, mate. That's a good point. The Robert Harrop stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to talk you out of it because, like I said, they got some great stuff coming up. But yeah, it's just something I was thinking the other day because I love getting them. But I did look at the ones I'd got and think, actually, I could have bought like 2 lovely Robert Harrop figures with that same money. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's just saving though, isn't it? It's just saving up.
Yes.
Yes. Just moving on to another thing, just before we finish the waffle. Something we spoke about last week after we finished recording, which has been playing on my mind since we spoke about it. We were saying obviously about the Doctor Who experience closing, weren't we? And how sad it is and all that. But then after we finished recording the other week, we suddenly remembered that last year or whenever there was talk of a Doctor Who theme park.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we were like, what's happened to that? Is that still going on or whatever? And I think you did a little bit of research, didn't you?
I did, yes.
So it's still happening, isn't it? Because this seems to have been completely forgotten as far as I'm aware. Like I haven't heard anything about it for ages, so I assumed it had been dropped. But apparently it's still happening, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that was going to be a long time thing to get done. So this was back in 20... Oh, crikey. I think it was back in 2011 or 2012.
Yeah, oh golly, that far back.
Yeah, when they said, right, we're going to build this really cool theme park. I think it was in Kent somewhere.
Yeah.
Out in Kent somewhere. And a load of people jumped on board. And one of the people that was very excited about it was BBC Worldwide. Because they wanted to throw some attractions in there linked to Sherlock, Doctor Who, and I think Top Gear as well. I think something was mentioned about Top Gear as well.
All right.
And so they obviously it's a massive investment thing, and I think they threw in they dropped quite a few mil on the table. They came into the meeting with their sort of silver briefcase, and they just let it rain like Kanye West all over the place. So I think they dropped like 200 million or something like that, investment. But as far as I can sort of make out from the stuff that I looked into, it's still a possibility because I don't think it was due to open until, was it 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, that's
something
what sticks
like that
in my mind. Yeah.
So it could still. I mean, I've not, like you and probably a lot of other people, we've not heard anything about it. But I think the whole thing, the entire park is like £2 billion worth of theme park, and those 3 brands are going to feature heavily from the BBC. Yeah. So Doctor Who, Sherlock, and Top Gear. But yeah, there's just the end date. There's just no. There's no sort of. I think the original date was 2020. Then it got pushed back to 2021.
Oh right, so it's still a way off then.
Yeah, and I think it's called the London Paramount Resort.
Ooh.
And it's going to be in Kent, not London.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the deal with that. I assume it's still on the way because various companies have invested tons of money.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to want to see the fruits of the labour, so to speak.
Yeah, you don't think some BBC executives just living it out in in a remote island somewhere with all the cash. So thanks for that. Yeah, I'll be back with some news on the theme park. You guys just sit in the car.
Yeah,
he's on the first plane out of here.
Yeah.
No, we were just curious because we were talking about the props, weren't we? We were saying, well, what's going to happen to all these lovely restored props from the experience, and then suddenly we got onto talking about the theme park, which seems to have been forgotten. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know our listeners are very much in the know and very often quite helpful on these things when we talk about it. So if anyone out there does know any more about this theme park, let us know. We just wonder what's going on with it. Yeah.
Yeah, be good though.
It will be good. Yeah. I just got visions of Chris Evans gate crashing though. I used to be on Top Gear for a whole series.
Oh Christ.
Yeah. And Matt Smith at the other end saying, "Don't you know who I am?"
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Your way. Chris Evans.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone knows about the theme park, tweet us.
Yeah. Let us know.
Email, whatever. That's waffle done, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon.
I was going to run out of time. Shall we land the TARDIS and do some news?
Yeah.
Important news this week.
Yes.
We've only got one news item, but it's worthy of some decent chat, and that is we have our first proper trailer for Series 10.
Yes.
So we had a teaser, didn't we, a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, nice teaser, library teaser, wasn't it? Which
That's
was good.
The one. Yeah. So that was cool. But now we've got a I would say a proper trailer that goes through. They go through a bunch of episodes, a bunch of characters, locations, the whole freaking lot. And I reckon we should play it.
Okay.
I reckon we should do it.
Do it.
This is the gateway to everything that ever was, or ever can be.
It's like a
spaceship. What?
That is a robot. It speaks emoji. Mars.
1814.
Get it!
Nice here, isn't it?
So how do we stay out of trouble?
This is naughty.
Exterminate.
Something's coming, Bill. And I have the feeling that we're going to be very busy. It's time.
Doctor.
Bring it. You're about to be exposed to the vacuum of space. This is the moment you've been waiting for since the day you were born. Now, Dole, Bill, with me to the TARDIS.
Ooh.
Well.
Well.
Now I'm going to say straight off the bat here, mate. My feelings towards Series 10 have been completely 180'd.
Yep.
I don't know about you, because I think when we were talking about on last week's show, we were saying that, we've watched Broadchurch, or I've watched it anyway, and I was really looking forward to Chris Chibnall coming on board, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do. But I've got to say, not that we were sort of, bashing them off too much and all that stuff, but we were saying, based on recent years of Who, it's and some of the things that we'd heard about Series 10, we were like, what's going to happen? But after seeing the trailer, I'm really, really excited now, because it looks like a bunch of stories that are just fun adventures.
Yep.
It's just the Doctor and Bill and obviously Nardole.
He says it like that, doesn't he? Nardole.
Yeah, he emphasises the doll. So it's just those three, from what it looks like anyway, just out getting into trouble, having fun, good old adventures, and I love that. It just looks fantastic, and the trailer's really sort of action-packed, isn't it? And
yeah, I've got to say, I love it. I'm with you. I've watched it loads. I really, really love it. Like you said, it just looks fun. But it didn't make me sort of cringe, like we've sort of in the past, like with Nardole and stuff, we've been a bit worried about the humour and all that. But this, like you said, it doesn't look like it's it just looks like fun. Yeah. And also it looks really, the production looks good, because we've talked about like the effects and stuff recently being very shoddy at times, and the budget cuts clearly showing. But from just going by what we're seeing in the trailer, just visually it looks beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It really does look great. So yes, I'm with you. It's really got me buzzing for Series 10. I have to say. And I love the music, mate. You probably saw me rocking away to because again, this is something we spoke about a while back. We were saying love Murray Gold, that's all good, but it would be nice to have someone fresh come in and do the music, even if it's just now and again or for the odd episode. And for me, and I don't know about you, but the music really adds to this trailer big time. It's really just that bit where it gets about 3/4 way through it goes dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. It's brilliant, and it's the guy who did the music for Class. Actually, it's Blair Mowat.
That's right. Yep.
Well, I assume it's him because he did the other trailer, and they sound very similar. So. Yeah, it's giving it a whole fresh feel. The trailer to me feels really fresh as well. It does feel like a new dynamic. There's none of this sort of bossy Clara-ness going on with the Doctor stuff. So it feels like a brand new. This is what Moffat wanted, isn't it? It does feel like a fresh new show again by the trailer to me, anyway. So, well excited. Yeah,
it looks amazing, and a part of me is always a little bit worried about that because I think to myself, do we want something that's too sort of following the crowd in terms of high action comic booky style? Like over the last few years where we've had the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and now the DC movies. Do we want it to be really sort of really fast paced and action packed? Because the trailer is certainly action packed and the music does play up to that. And I think to myself, well, is that really Doctor Who? Sometimes I think does Doctor Who just need to slow down a bit and, and be a bit more classic at times. But then I immediately think, no, because that's not going to suit a modern day audience. It needs to be a bit like when RTD brought Who back in 2005. It kind of needs to be fresh, doesn't it? And moving with the times and new. So, as soon as I thought that, I immediately thought, no, this is awesome. It looks really, really good. And there's loads of little details in this trailer, isn't there? There's lots of little...
You blink and you'll miss it. That's why probably like you, I've watched it over and over again because they're really quick, aren't they? Quick edits, yeah.
Really quick. One thing that I wanted to pick up on to kick us off was Nardole holding what's clearly the Fourth Doctor's Sonic.
Yeah. Now, I didn't spot this, first of all. I must admit, I didn't notice it until it was pointed out to me. And then it's really obvious once you notice, isn't it? Because there's two shots of it. There's a shot of it flying through the air and him grabbing it.
That's right.
And then there's a shot of him, like, I don't know, doing something with it. So, yeah, it looks like the Fourth Doctor's Sonic, doesn't it?
It does. Very well, it clearly is.
Which I'm very intrigued about.
That's a real brain tickler, that one. It's like, It's like, why would Nardole be? Because it's like whizzing through the air, isn't it? And then he catches it. So first of all, who's throwing that at him? Why is he sort of gasping at it? Because when he catches it, he's like in awe of it almost, and he's sort of wide-eyed, and so how does? Oh God, it's just those little things that just kick your mind off, and you think, oh, I can't wait. We have to see it now.
So who is it? I know what you mean. I mean, I'm really intrigued by that. And I know some people I spoke to aren't happy. They're like, oh, why are they giving Nardole the Fourth Sonic? It's quite funny because somebody I spoke to was saying the next thing you know, we'll be getting the Fourth Doctor Sonic toy reissued in Nardole packaging, which I can absolutely see happening because character will use, an excuse to reissue a toy with new packaging. Yeah. So look forward to that next year. But no, I'm well intrigued by that. Yeah, I can't think why. And I don't know if there'll even be a reason. Will it just be the Moff throwing a bit of fan service? I don't know, but yeah, that's got me excited as well. I've got a feeling it'll be Missy. I don't know why. I've just got this vision of Missy giving it to him for some reason. But
let's talk about Missy because she is back.
Yeah, she is back. Yeah,
clearly looking hot, and she looks really. She's got a different look in this.
Looking sexy, as the Moff would say.
Because in the last couple of years that we've seen Missy, she's always been, she's always had the purple coat and almost sort of Mary Poppins-y.
Very Mary Poppins.
Do you know what I mean? But in this one, in this now, she's sort of changed she's obviously had a change of wardrobe. Her hair looks a bit different. She's looking really good. Yeah,
she is looking good. Have you seen that little video that the Doctor Who page put up the other day of her with a Cyberman head, just watching the little... I actually thought that was really funny. It's just because she's like, there's me. At least there's something good in it. And I do like her at times. I I sort of chop and change with Missy. There are times when I really like her, and other times when I think she just goes a bit over the top. But I really liked that little clip. It's basically just her watching the trailer again offset. I like these little things they're doing of her, just as if she's just finished filming and she's got 5 minutes, and they do a little piece to camera, don't they? So I thought that was really fun. Really fun.
No, it's good. And the first video they put out of her painting the TARDIS was funny.
Yeah,
as well.
That's it. Yeah.
Almost like they've got her doing manual labour because she's nothing else better to do.
It's just that look she gives at the end, though, because if Missy is very comical most of the time, but then when she wants to be scary, she can do it with a look, which is what I do love about Missy. Like if you watch her at the end, I forget what she said. She's like, "Time for heroes, eh? Personally, I'd like to see him crash and burn." And she just looks up like that, and you're like, "Whoa!" So she can be vicious, Missy. You just love the way she can change like in a heartbeat.
She's deceiving.
Yeah.
We get to see very briefly David Suchet or Suchet,
we do,
depending on where you're from, playing the character the landlord, and he's got a really intense little scene, hasn't he?
What does he say?
Yeah, because he just turns, I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, to the Doctor, and he just says, "It's time."
Oh, yeah, it's time, yeah.
But what time for what? And he's got a little tuning fork in his hand as well.
Yeah.
So that's all intriguing. And his character looks really good because he's a fantastic actor, isn't he, David
I was
Suchet?
just going to say he's a very good actor, David Suchet. Yeah, bit of class, bring a bit of class to it.
Some classic acting chops. And we also see a bunch of familiar faces by the way of Cybermen, both new and classic, Mondasian that we spoke about last week.
Oh, yeah, we get a great shot of them because we were worried. Well, I can't remember if you were. Well, I was worried about the fact they look so overlit in that promo picture, but the shot we get here is very dark and they're in the shadows. And I just thought even that just one shot looked fantastic. So if they're like that for the episode, whoa, brilliant.
Yeah, they look, really, really good. And then we also see the ice person. He's not an ice warrior, or she.
I think it's a she, isn't it? It's a lady, well, a female ice warrior, I think. I think she looks great because they've kept the design pretty much to the classic style, but they've altered it enough to make it modern. And again, it is like a split-second scene. I had to pause it about 20 times to try and see that picture. But I think she looks really good. She almost looks like she's got like long hair or something. I'm not sure, but or maybe it's the mask. I'm not sure, but there's a bit of something going on with the headgear, but it looks good to me.
Yeah, it almost looks like a cross between the Ice Lord from Peladon and an Ice Warrior.
Yeah,
which is more head scratching to be done beforehand, and we see. As contractually obliged, because it's a new series of Who, we are going to have some Daleks.
Yeah.
Looking standard as always, but we do have this other character, don't we? It's like a young girl character, and she's just saying the words "exterminate."
Yeah, what do you reckon's going on with that then?
I'm not sure. It's
because I'm not a fan of when the Dalek eye stalks come out of people's heads.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I'll be honest with you. I've never liked it. It just doesn't sit right with me. But I don't think it's that. I think they're doing something different.
I think so, because there's no eye stalk, is there?
No.
So yeah, it's weird because she's like drenched. She's submerged in, or she's just been submerged in water. It looks like, and
she almost looks possessed, doesn't she? It's like sort of
So that's really interesting to see what they're going to do with that, because it's clearly Dalek related, isn't it?
And the clips of the Daleks are from that intro clip of Bill, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because it's the same set, which I'm a little bit surprised about, because I assumed that was just done as an intro clip. I didn't realise that was going to be in the episode, although I suppose it might be like that actual scene might not be in the episode. Maybe they just filmed it at the same time or something. But it's the same sort of corridor set with the Dalek going down it and the fire in the background and all that. So so it's obviously the same episode that's from. There is rumour that that's going to be the first episode, and I kind of hope it isn't, because we had the Daleks story as the opener for Series 9, so I don't really want it a Dalek story as the opener for Series 10. I don't know if that's true. I'm just hoping it's not. But it's strongly rumoured that might be the first episode.
I would. Well, it would.
Hopefully
sort of,
not.
yeah, it would sort of get the Daleks out the way.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Or maybe they're not in it much. Maybe it's just the intro with them. A bit like, what was that story where, again, because they had to be contractually included, they had them just sort of in one bit at the start. Is it What Was a Mars? No, is it What Was a Mars? They do appear as, I don't know. There's one story where they're in the beginning just to get them out of the way. Maybe it's like that.
Maybe. Yeah. Emoji robot.
Well, this is the thing. Out of all the things I've heard on Twitter, because the response to this trailer, from what I've seen, has been overwhelmingly positive, which is great because there's been so much negativity towards the show recently, and some of it justified, to be fair. But it was really great to see this getting such a positive reaction, this trailer. But one thing that people do seem to be less enthusiastic about is the emoji robot. Me personally, I don't really have a problem with him because I love little robots. You know what I mean? I'm always a fan of a robot. He doesn't, I don't know, he's a bit generic in his design, so I can see why people are thinking he looks a bit naff, but I'm not too bothered about him. But it just seems he's getting a bit of hate on the internet, this poor little guy. And I think what it is people might be worried because the episode he's in is written by Frank Cottrell-Boyce, I believe, who obviously wrote The Atrocious in the Forest of the Night. So I think people are just a bit worried about the concept of the emoji robot. But don't know. What do you think, mate? I think he looks fun. I don't really have a problem with him.
I think he looks quite good, actually.
Yeah?
Yep. I think after seeing the whole trailer for Series 10, I think I'm just not writing anything off on this one.
Okay.
Because there are times where you do see a pre-production photo that they release, or you see a set pic and you think, oh man, that looks awful. But then, when you get to the series, get to actually watch it, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. And vice versa as well. I mean, when we saw a good example of that is when we saw the huge robots for Series 9. The episode where Maisie Williams was in it.
Yeah, the girl who died. Yeah,
something like that. And we thought that those monsters looked really good. And then when we came to the episode, they were just wasted and useless.
Totally did nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. However, based on the vibe on the trailer and all the cool stuff, I think, it's hard not to sort of get swept away with it. But I do think it looks quite good. I mean, I think a lot of people are writing it off, like you say, and throwing some hate around. But until you've seen it, I don't know. Let's just see what's going to be like.
And I like the fact Bill's like, it speaks emoji. I just thought it was kind of cute. Yeah. Can I talk a little bit about Bill, actually?
I was going to say, let's talk about the Doctor and Bill and Nardole a little bit. But yeah, so
Nardole, yeah.
So this is the most we've seen really of Bill in different scenes and different stuff. I know we had the little teaser just for her.
Yeah.
That was mainly sort of Dalek orientated. And in the teaser, she was narrating over that. But this is the first time we've seen her in multiple locations with different costumes and, properly running around with the Doctor. So what do you reckon's of Bill? I've seen a lot of tweets saying, oh, she's basically, annoying like Rose. And I've seen people saying, she's essentially just the modern day version of Ace. So what do you reckon?
I'm coming round to liking Bill. I think, I said about the trailer in the library. I said it's the first time I've actually felt any empathy or warmth towards her, because I really didn't like her intro clip. I thought she was written as being silly and annoying. I just thought, oh, what a shame. I did just her introduction clip that we got where she was like saying, is that Dalek? It's fat though, isn't it? And I was just like, oh dear me. Oh dearie me. So I've not been too excited about Bill up until now, unfortunately. But I did like the little voiceover bit she did with the teaser trailer in the library, and now we've finally got to see her in this trailer, so we got to see a bit more of her in action in the trailer. I'm definitely more on board with Bill. Let's put it that way. Because I didn't have much hope for her after that intro clip. I really didn't. I thought the acting was wooden and stagey, and the dialogue was dreadful. And I just thought, oh no, this is not going to work. But no, I think she seems pretty quirky from this trailer, and I really liked her in the clips that we've seen. I'll be honest with you, I really did. Even the silly lines like calling the TARDIS a kitchen, and the Doctor's reaction to it, he's like, "What?" I thought, I'm getting on board with this character a little bit now. So I feel that, again, hopefully, when we get to see a full episode, I think I'm going to do another 380, and I think I'm really hoping I'm going to like her now, because I do think she's good in this trailer. And I think one of the things that I love about this trailer overall is that the fact that we've got this TARDIS team of 3, because I know we've all got mixed feelings about Nardole. I know we're all a bit worried about him being in the TARDIS, but something about having a team, the Doctor with these 2 guys, I'm really liking from this trailer, because it sort of reminds me of the classic era of the Doctor traveling with a couple of people. So again, it's because it's giving it a good dynamic. It's not just the Doctor and a female companion. There's none of that sort of stuff going on, which we've had for so long. So I get the feeling from the trailer that there's just a lot of fun between these 3. So I'm not even worried about Nardole anymore. If anything, I'm quite excited to see these 3 guys together, because they seem to be working as a team. And you can tell there's going to be humour in there, because there's a bit where Nardole says it's naughty. And I don't really have a problem with Nardole, actually. The more I see him, the more I'm sort of coming round to the 3 of them together. I think they're going to work quite well together. I certainly hope so.
Yes.
It looks like it. Yeah.
No, I completely agree, mate. And it's one of those things where, if you go back to like the Davison era, especially, like I really like that TARDIS team once they got rid of Adric, and it's just the 3 of them knocking about. And I don't know, there's just something about having another companion. So you've got the Doctor and a couple of people. I know we've had it with Amy and Rory and Rose and Mickey at times, or Martha and Mickey, whatever. But it's there's definitely something about it, because when you have just the Doctor and a companion, you're not limiting yourself per se, but all you've got is the interaction between those 2. And when we had like the Doctor and Clara, for example, it almost got a little bit sort of monotonous after a while, and it got a little bit.
Oh, it did.
So when you've got 2 people, you can throw some extra stuff in there, and it's good that they've got someone like Bill. And I do feel like she is a bit of an Ace character.
I hope so, because I love Ace.
Yeah, because she does throw in like these little one-liners that you would expect Ace to say. So when you hear things like "get in," "get in," and those little Aceisms and stuff like that. So I think she's going to be okay. We'll have to wait and see, because her first episode that we see her in is called The Pilot.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because it was, the working title for this was something else, wasn't it? So about the star in her eye or something. It's been called for a long time, and then they've changed that to The Pilot, which does have double meaning, because you think a pilot is obviously, like we've got a Doctor episode called The Pilot, which is the very first one, the pilot. But I'm guessing this is talking about a pilot as in someone who flies something.
Yeah.
But I also get the feeling the Moffs put it in there's a double meaning of like, I'm starting afresh. This is the first, I get the feeling the Moffs sort of got a bit of a double meaning going on there, as if he's saying this is a pilot. This is the first of a new show now, in his eyes, in terms of like he's started afresh, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Pilot, I don't know. It's an unusual episode title. I mean, I'm not sure.
And the Sonic Shades are back.
Oh, yeah.
So I know you're all thrilled.
I'm not a fan of the Shades at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And lastly, Nardole. So I thought he was actually okay in The Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Yeah, he was all right, yeah.
I thought he was okay. So it will be good to see, because Matt Lucas is actually a very good actor. If you take it, I'm not talking about all the comedy stuff that he's done with Little Britain and all that stuff, but he's been in a number of West End shows, and his acting chops are really good. So it'll be interesting to see how he serves up a mixture of comedy, and because there were moments in the Christmas special where he was actually quite serious with the Doctor.
Yeah,
there was none of that sort of very silly humour coming through. There were a couple of conversations where he actually looked like he was in control as well, because he was fiddling with the TARDIS controls, wasn't he? And he was, saying to the Doctor about something about travelling alone and something like that. So, yeah, I think that the whole chemistry, the whole TARDIS team is going to be really a combination of fun and just really intriguing to watch in Series 10.
Yeah, I think if they get the chemistry right, I think we're onto a winner here. I know I totally appreciate people's concerns because of, of what we've had so far. But I do think, judging by this trailer, the three of them together, if they get that chemistry, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good ride, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Mothball, for putting out a cool trailer. It's definitely sort of changed my attitude on it, because I think we were all feeling a little bit, trodden ground. Like, oh no, not you and I, and a lot of people weren't so much as down in the dumps about it, but we had these things like, oh, it's the Moff's last series. Are we just going to have another, more of the same that we've seen the last couple of years? But this does look totally different to what the Moff's done before. It
really does. And actually, I'm just going to say, of course, I don't know about you, but once again, the BBC did a great job of of stopping this being leaked, didn't they? Because this got leaked last week, was it?
Yeah,
it was everywhere. Yep. It was absolutely everywhere. The BBC were going around like a headless chicken, trying to take it down from every social network site possible. And then, of course, I don't know if it was supposed to come out this weekend or whether they brought it forward because of the leak. Because where was it? The one that was online, that was leaked online, was it ABC? Was it Australia?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because it came up at the end, didn't it? Saying, because everyone was saying, oh, it says April the 16th. Oh, maybe it's on the... I was like, yeah, of course it does. It's not a UK trailer. That's why it's saying the 16th. And then, of course, we got it officially in between the football this weekend. So, yeah, once again, nothing is safe, because we always get these leaks, don't we?
Always, all the time.
Always. Yeah. But just before we move on, just quickly talk about that promo image that they've released at the same time, which I think is, again, I love it.
It's gorgeous.
It does remind me of the Doctor holding Amy out of the TARDIS a little bit. Do you remember that from Series 5?
I
was
do.
It that promo?
Yep.
But it's a really, really nice bit of artwork, that. So it's basically the TARDIS in the sky. Nardal's kind of cowering behind the Doctor, and the Doctor's got hold of Bill, who's actually hanging outside the TARDIS in midair. It's just a nice promo poster, I think.
It looks awesome. It's like a burning cityscape in the background as well.
Yeah.
And it looks really nice. It was done by a guy called Stuart Crouch.
Okay.
Along with a guy called, I don't know his full name. I know his name's Gavin. His Twitter handle is The Mind Robber. He provided some assets for it, but it's a great image. It's so good.
It is, and the Radio Times have done a little breakdown, haven't they, of all the little things hidden in it, so you can see a red planet in the background and something else. There's a few little hidden bits in it as well.
Yeah, well, there's Earth. It looks like Earth in the background, and what's presumably Mars, and yeah. So, Series 10, it's getting a lot of love at the minute. I've seen quite a few tweets and people saying how good it looks, and there's also the naysayers as well, saying it looks awful and
I haven't had that much negativity, which is good, but one or two. There's always one or two, but most of it seems to have been positive. I've just got to ask you, though, as someone who does this sort of thing, this picture of the TARDIS, look, Nardal there, behind the Doctor. The TARDIS backdrop behind them.
Mm-hmm.
That is, as much as I love this promo picture, I just thought of you because you do this sort of thing. That is not right, is it? It's too big. The console behind him, I mean. Am I right? The thing is out of proportion, isn't it? It should be. I'm talking about the round things at the top of the TARDIS console. They're like right behind Nardal, but to me they're wrong. They should be much smaller. It looks like he's right behind him. There's
slightly, yeah. I mean, there's more of a walkway, more of a ramp before you get to the console itself. So I think that's by design, though. I think that's on purpose, just to.
It does make it look nice. Yeah. It's just my eyes zoomed straight in at it and thought, I wonder if Gary will think the same. It's just a little. Yeah, it could have been tweaked, but it does. I mean, visually, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and the TARDIS looks all beat up and how it should do, and all the blue paint is scuffed, and
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that we're very much looking forward to Series 10. And we're recording this on the 15th of March, so we've got exactly 1 month to go.
Yeah, exactly 1 month, yeah. In the words of the Doctor, bring it.
Bring it, yes. So that's going to do for news. We have got one piece of merch, so I'm just going to bring our old pal in so he can bring it in on the silver tray.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
So Robert Harrop, which we've spoken about lots over the last couple of months, we revealed, I think it was a few weeks ago, all of the characters that they've got planned for this year, and one of them was Alpha Centauri from The Curse and or Monster of Peladon. And they put a picture up on their Facebook page of the initial sculpt. So not in colour, but just the like the brown beigey looking sculpt for it. And as always, with most of the Robert Harrop stuff, it looks bang on.
It does look good, yeah, it does. I mean, it's although not one of my favourite stories, I do love the character for a multitude of reasons. I think he looks great. I love the fact they've set up this new Facebook page and they're posting these pictures, so you can see them in development and then up to their final stage. I think it's really great to see how they start off on that. So, yeah, He looks good. He's missing an arm though, isn't he? Bless him.
At the moment, yeah, he's
in development.
They put another picture on as well of one.
Actually, it's a her, isn't it? I keep saying him.
Yeah, it's a her. Yeah,
it's an it.
Yeah, one of the sculptors at Robert Harrop, his name's Mike Rogers. They put a photo of him with like a little tiny little brush, putting the details in, and so on. And he's got like reference photos pinned up on the wall and stuff, so who knows what he's looking at. But it just goes to show like the level of detail that goes into the Robert Harrop figures is actually quite astonishing, because if you think to the TARDIS figure that you bought a while back, it's just fantastic. It's just so good. It's
one of my favourite things. I love it.
Yeah. So there's no date on this, is there? This is just one of the sculpts that's going to be ready for 2017. So we've already had the Master, the crispy Master from the Deadly Assassin. He's up for pre-order now, and I think, if memory serves, there's only 200 of him.
Yeah, he's quite limited.
Yeah. So price-wise, standard £60 for the Robert Harrop figures, which is good.
Not bad, yeah.
But there's no word yet on Alpha Centurion when she's going to be up for order, but it will be some point this year.
Yeah, and the thing is with Harrop is that don't miss out, because when they sell out, they sell for silly money on eBay. I mean, I constantly check eBay to see if I can get the Malice or a Sea Devil for a reasonable price, and they're all on there for like 130, whatever. So if you like it, as I said, you might think, 60 quid, just put a tenner aside a month and get it, because they are beautiful figures. And my TARDIS arrived super quick as well. Like, I think I paid £5 postage, and it's massive. The box is huge. So just if you like these figures, just don't miss out. They are brilliant. I'm going to get Alpha Centauri. I was tempted with the Master, but I've got to sort of limit myself to just a couple. So I've sort of zoned it. But I think Alpha Centauri is definitely one I'm going to get. I'm so tempted with the Master, but I think I'm going to hold off and get him. And who was the other ones coming out? Because there were some really good ones.
Crikey, that was a big list, wasn't there?
I know K9 was on there, wasn't he? There was a couple of good. The Demon was on there from the Daemons. There was some really. They've got some really good ones coming out. But I'm sure you're going to pick up an Alpha Centauri, because you like it, don't you?
I quite like the story.
You going to get one?
Yeah, I think so.
Come on, Gary.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, because it does look really. It does look just spot on.
It does. Yeah.
And there was a big list that they put out of all the figures. I think there was about at least 8 or 9 figures that they were planning to do for this year. And it's interesting that Alpha Centauri is the second one after the Master.
To
do, because there wasn't quite popular ones on there.
Well, trust me, the Master looks great. It's literally because they released that list, and I remember thinking, God, there's loads on there I really want to get, so I'm going to have to really choose selectively because I can't afford them all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, so I've got the list. Yeah, so the Master's done. Alpha Centauri. At the time when we reported it, it said nearing sculptural completion, so that's obviously pretty much done. There was Pat Troughton.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The Hemivores, Tetraps, Draconians, Axons, the Demon, and Canine.
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
Definitely getting me a Tetrap.
That's a must. Yeah.
That is an absolute must.
Big. Yeah. Right, that's Robert Harrop. So Alpha Centauri, it will be up for pre-order very soon, I would imagine, at Robert Harrop. And if you're a fan of the Master or the Crispy Master, that launch with only 200. So get on that, and that's going to do for news and merch.
Yeah.
Adam, what fantastic story are we going to review this week?
Gary, this week, mate, well, we are, of course, concluding our Ninth Doctor two-parter. So we did The Empty Child the other week, and this week we are following it up with The Doctor Dances.
Mummy!
Doctor!
Secure those gates.
Why?
Just do it! All that weapon's tech in the hands of an hysterical 4-year-old looking for his mummy. And nothing in the world can stop it!
Don't move!
You forgot to set your alarm clock. It's volcano day.
Doctor!
Come on! Go on, ask me anything. I'm on fire!
You got the moves? Show me your moves. The world doesn't end because the Doctor dances.
Stay back! Okay, that door should hold it for a bit.
The door? The wall didn't stop it.
Coming to find you, Mummy.
Brilliant.
The wall didn't stop it.
No.
So why would a door stop it? Come on, Doctor, use your noggin. Christ. Right, the Doctor Dances was with us in 2005.
Gosh.
At the end of May. The second part, obviously, the conclusion to The Empty Child, and it was written by the Moff.
Yeah.
Directed by James Hawes, or Howes, whichever you want to say it. And it was overseen by RTD and Julie Gardner, etc. And yes, so this was picks up immediately where The Empty Child left off. So at the end of that one, if I remember correctly, the Doctor, Rose, and Jack were sort of cornered in the hospital. All of the patients in the gas masks were sort of advancing towards them. And Nancy was trapped under the bed, I think, while
under a table,
while the little child was looking around. So in this, as we pick up, we advance through the story. So Nancy has been captured in the home of the person that they were robbing the food from.
Oh, yeah.
The Doctor is trying to find out exactly what Captain Jack had brought down to Earth, because he assumed it was an empty, just garbage pod sort of thing, but it turns out it was something very much, very different to that. And we still have the various people turning into gas mask people. So that's like where the story picks up. And then we travel through with the Doctor and Rose and Jack on the run from the gas mask people, from the child. We have Nancy, who sort of meets up. She goes back to the bomb site because she wants to because she sort of comes to the realization that as long as she hangs around with all the homeless kids, the little child is constantly going to follow her and puts them all in danger. So she goes off to try and sort the situation out. She meets up with the Doctor, and they fix it with a very nice, charming, sort of emotional scene. And yes, that's pretty much the plot for the second part.
Yep.
What are your feelings on the Doctor Dances?
Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I held off watching this till last night because when
too.
we reviewed when we reviewed the first part, I was very tempted to go straight into it, but I thought, no, I'll wait and watch it. Definitely worth the wait. It's such a great conclusion to that first episode. I mean, the first episode's good, but if anything, this one's even better, which is unusual because normally in a two-parter, sometimes there's a bit of filler going on or whatever, and this doesn't let up at all. It's cracking right from the beginning, right to even the very last shot. It's I can't help but say it, fantastic. I loved it, absolutely loved it. It never fades. It's as good as I remember when it went out. I mean, I thought it was incredible when it went out, and it hasn't diminished over time. It is still just such a brilliant watch. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. Do you think it's a good conclusion?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic conclusion. It's one of those episodes that is just amazing to watch from start to finish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's got a couple of funny moments in it. It's got some emotional moments in it. It's got action in it.
Some proper horror in it. That bit where Nancy's chained to the table with the the World War II.
The soldier, yeah.
The soldier. Yeah. Gosh.
And he's
like turning and she's like, please let me go. And he's like coughing and oh my word. And then, there's some real horrific moments in this, which still look horrific, even though they're like 12 years old. This episode it's 12 years old, isn't it? It's still, still funny, still dark, still action packed. It's oh wow. I can't praise it highly enough. It's just brilliant.
It's amazing. Yeah. And we'll come on to Mr. Eccleston in a moment, but wasn't he just on fire?
He literally is. When he says that line, I was actually thinking in my head, you really are. You're absolutely on fire as the Doctor right now. Yeah. It's one of those moments where you're actually going like this along with the screen saying, yes, you are on fire. God, this is good. Yeah.
It's great. So the first part of the episode is kind of split into two because we have the Doctor, Rose and Jack. They're trying to escape essentially from the hospital because the child is there. He's searching around because there's a great moment where the Doctor says, he's this all powerful sort of thing, and he sent it to its room, and he's like, "This is its room." So they're like right in the middle of the problem. So they're trying to escape the hospital because all the gas mask people have come to life as well, and they're trying to get them and so on. Because it follows on from the first episode, doesn't it? Where I think if they touch you, you get the scar on the hand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you see the scar on the hand, you better keep away from them, basically.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a thriller, that bit, because they don't obviously want to go anywhere near him. And we have the funny scenes with Captain Jack's gun and
the banana,
and so on.
I've never picked up on that thing about the Doctor, because the Doctor realizes where the gun was made or something, and he references that. You kind of get the impression that he destroyed the gun making plant, and it's now a banana factory or something. And I love that.
That was really well written, wasn't it?
Just thrown in there. Yeah, I've never picked up on that before. I thought, that's really, because he then replaces Jack's gun with a banana, doesn't he? Which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, because Captain Jack,
lovely little scene.
Yeah, because he does say that the factory was destroyed, and he went, "Did you say that you visited there?" He went, "Yeah, only once." And
that's it. Yeah,
yeah, it was quite clear that he just destroyed the whole thing.
Yeah, got rid of it.
Yeah. So we have those guys sort of the first half of the story, I would say. It's those guys doing their thing, and then the other half is Nancy. And there's some real some real creepy scenes that we have in this one that we saw in the first one as well. So the first scene that really got me was when they're in the hospital and they're playing the tape back of the child, and then you can hear this like clicking sound, and Rose is like, "What's that noise?" And he's like, "The tape's finished," but you can still hear the child talking.
What a great idea, isn't it?
And he said the tape, it finished 30 seconds ago, and then that horrible music kicks in, and they turn around and he's just there.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
By the tape player. And that's really creepy, because in the first story there was that really creepy bit where the camera sort of rotates as it goes down the hallway, and it just sees the silhouette in the door.
Yes.
And it's got that kind of thing where the camera sort of moves in, and it is really creepy.
There's some lovely creepy moments in this. Yeah, there's that, and the bit, as I said, with the soldier. There's a bit later on as well where Jack says, I'll distract this guy for you. I'm more his type or something. And then he turns
yeah,
around and he's clearly got it because he's like coughing and spluttering. And there's a bit where he sort of falls to his knees and puts his head up and the mask and eyes come out. And I thought, my God, that is horrific for, I'm so really surprised they went that far with it. But it's fantastically horrific. And the effects look bloody good considering this is, as old as it is. So there's some really great horror moments like that. But what I love about it is there are all, in contrast to those brilliant horror moments, there's also some lovely moments where we just take time to stop, like the actual bit where they're trapped in the room and Jack buggers off, doesn't he? They like turn around and he's escaped and they're like, where's Jack? He's gone. And the doctor's like, see, told you he'd leave us, told you he'd, wouldn't stick around. And then so you just get a really nice scene of the Doctor and Rose trapped in that room where she actually says, come on then, dance with me. The world doesn't end because the Doctor dances. What a lovely little scene. And it's just like, nothing, there's nothing amazing happening. It's just a beautiful bit of dialogue between the Doctor and Rose, and also a nice little bit of comedy where he's, there's a bit of testosterone level going on, isn't there, between him and Jack? And, she's saying, well, if you're such a good dancer, then prove it, sort of thing. And there's, there's a bit of a sort of undertone of what would you call it? Captain Envy, I think she calls it, doesn't she? But we all know what she's referring to.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a lovely scene, isn't it? That, and then and the fact that Jack transports them while they're slow dancing and they don't even notice and all that. It's it's great. So we get all the horror, we get the nice comedy, we get the very quiet moments between the Doctor and Rose, and of course we're still fairly early on in their sort of
true. Yep.
Run. I was going to say relationship.
Yep.
Yeah. So it all just flows unbelievably well. I've got to tip my hat to the director actually, James Hawes, who's I think does an unbelievable job in this. I think it's incredibly well directed, as was the first part. I think he did both, didn't he? I assume it's him.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he directed The Empty Child as well. So, yeah, really, really nicely directed and very well paced. I never once found myself getting bored or looking at the clock or just quickly checking my phone. Not once. I just sat through the whole thing, just totally immersed in it. Yeah.
And I was hoping you'd say that because I think we said that about the first part as well, where the pacing was spot on and the episode looked really nice and it was directed beautifully. And this one, you can tell that it was all done together in the same block and it was all edited because it's just got the exact same visual style and pacing where it's got that sort of almost washed out. And the only times you don't have that feeling is when you're in Captain Jack's ship, because that's quite bright and colourful. It's got like red and blue, purple lights everywhere and so on. But the rest of the time, when you're sort of in and around London and that area, it's got this washed out, almost kind of sepia tone feel to it.
Yeah.
To give it sort of a classic, sort of retro-y kind of feel to it. It's really cool. And so exactly the same as you. I never once reached for my phone to go and check Twitter or emails or anything like that. It was just, glued to it from start to finish.
And I love all that stuff going on between Jack and the Doctor and Rose. Again, I think this comes back to what we were saying about the new TARDIS team as well. It's nice to have that new dynamic of the three of them. And clearly the Doctor feels a little bit jealous of Jack in a way, doesn't he? Because he's getting a bit of attention from Rose and he feels like he's been
gazumped.
Yeah, I think, didn't she say something like finally a professional or something in the first part? The Doctor's a little bit put out by this suave, character that's drifted in and knocked Rose off her feet and all that. And there's some great comedy moments between the three of them early on, and it's in between the action as well, which works really well. Yeah.
And I think, because in the first part, she was banging on about some proper Spock.
That's it,
talk, wasn't she? And I'm pretty sure the Moff was watching some Star Trek around this time, because we have that reference in the first part. And in this part, the nanogenes.
Oh, nanogenes, yeah.
Apparently, they were originally going to be called nanites.
Oh.
And one of the script editors said, it sounds way too much like the next generation nanotechnological devices. Apparently, that's very similar to a Star Trek thing.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what thing, but yeah. So the Moff was obviously watching his Trek at this time.
Probably stealing all their ideas
Stealing
for Series 6. Yeah.
Well, that's good sci-fi. You know, good sci-fi borrows these cool concepts and steals and all that stuff. It's just making sure that you do it in a good way.
Yeah, what do they call it? An homage.
An homage, yes.
I'm glad he did change it though, because I really like the word nanogenes. I think I don't know what it is about that word, but it sounds great, and it totally suits what they are. Like when we finally get to see them on screen, and the Doctor's like, nanogenes. You're like, oh, they're cool.
And I really love the effect as well. So, you know, when we
Simple
first...
but beautiful, yeah.
When we first see them, you know, we're on Jack's ship, and the Doctor, they sort of hover around his hands, don't they? And so on. What's interesting, and a little point that I totally missed, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, and I didn't think about it until afterwards, but when the nanogenes are like hovering around, because they're like tiny little dots, aren't they? Little spheres. When they're hovering around somebody and they're healing them or whatever, they give off this real sort of identifiable orange glow. Yeah. And it's almost exactly the same colour as the regeneration energy that the Doctors give off in the first few series.
Oh, I never. It is actually. I never picked up on that.
Yeah, I didn't until afterwards. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I thought, I thought that must be intentional, because in a way they are sort of regenerating sort of DNA and cells, aren't they, to repair? So it's almost I'm pretty sure it's the same sort of colour orange glow. So when the Doctor's regenerating, it's that same thing. So I thought that was a nice little include there. I'm not 100% sure if it's intentional, but it's certainly a thing.
I hadn't picked up on that. You're totally right. Yeah. I'll never look at them the same way again, because that's absolutely true. I love that it turns out that they are the reason for it all as well. So it's not one of those stories where it turns out to be a big invasion or there's a monster in it or anything like that. It's just that these things are trying to do something good by repairing a human body, and they've got the wrong template for it, and they're trying to heal everybody, but in actual fact they're turning them into monsters because they've got the wrong template. What an amazing idea. I don't know where the Moff got that from, but it's just when we get that revelation, when the Doctor realizes it's actually the nanogenes that Jack accidentally brought back with him, or accidentally had in that thing, or
that's right.
It's all to it's actually them that's caused the whole thing. It's a brilliant revelation and such a nice simple idea. That again, it's why I rate this episode so highly. I was just like, wow, that's just so simple but so brilliant.
Yeah, and it's also it's almost classic Who as well. The way that this all unravels, because it's essentially just the Doctor, isn't it, telling the story. So if memory serves correctly, I know I only watched it yesterday, but when Captain Jack was sort of guiding this, supposedly empty pod down to Earth, he supposedly scanned it and there was no life forms and all the rest of it. The nanogenes were just dormant inside, so they didn't register on his scanners or anything. And it wasn't until they crashed into Earth, this particular type of, I'm assuming there's different types of nanogenes out in the galaxy somewhere, but this particular type, they'd never seen humans before or anything. So when they sort of escaped from the pod, they immediately, the first sort of human they encountered was the little boy. And because it was during the Blitz, he had his gas mask on and he was obviously in a lot of pain and hurt. He was looking for his mum. In order to sort of fix that, they thought that that's what all humans look like, and that's what all humans should be like. So that's why, all the other people turn into the gas mask people and so on. And it was down to his real mum, which turns out to be Nancy, sort of him and his mum Nancy coming together at the end, and the nanogenes figuring out and sort of correcting themselves. And it's just wonderful how this is all going on, and the Doctor's sort of narrating it as it's sort of happening. Yeah. And he's like really wishing them to figure it out. He was like, he's really passionate, isn't he? That's Chris Eccleston is brilliant in that.
I was just gonna say, how good is he in that scene when he's like, "Come on, guys, figure it out." Like, you got Nancy and the kid hugging. He's like, "Come on, work it out." It's higher. It's a no, not higher technology. What does he say? It's working out. It's a superior. Being or whatever. And he's like, "Come on, just this once."
That's right. Yeah, and
give me this one or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's desperate, and he's willing them on, and he's he's telling Rose, essentially, and the other people that are in earshot, but really he's sort of telling the viewer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's telling us what's going on. And then when they do figure it out, he's just elated and he's jumping around and he's so happy.
Well, it does lead to that brilliant bit where he throws it into the crowd of gas mask adults and says, just this once, everybody lives. And he's just, it is the most feel good. I mean, as if that isn't good enough, we then get the scene at the end, which I'll come on to later with Jack in the ship. I mean, as if that wasn't feel good enough, you then get that absolutely brilliant ending with them turning up on Jack's ship at the end. It's just one amazing moment after the other. But yeah, that is brilliant. That, but it's quite ironic though, isn't it, that in a Stephen Moffat script he says, just this once, everybody lives. And I kept thinking, well, every other story he wrote after this, everybody does blimmin' live, even when they're killed. Clara, cough, Clara. But just this once, back then,
it's just
everybody lived. And
it's
it is
brilliant. Yeah,
it's a great moment. Yeah.
So in terms of story, it's fantastic. I know I'm going to use that word a lot.
You can't help it.
It is fantastic. It's because if you hadn't seen the episode before, like say if you put one of our listeners have thought, after this I'm going to stick it on because I've not seen it before. You do sort of go through it and think, well, how, what's going on? How, because you almost think it's something to do with the child at first. You think it has to be something to do with that, but it's not. It's just an outside force that sort of made the situation, and then it undoes it by itself. And like you say, it's really good. You can't help but have a really big smile on your face for the last 10 minutes of the story.
Well, that bit. I mean, we may as well say we're on to it, so I may as well say, but that bit when obviously he saved everybody, and you're like, God, this is good. And then Jack's sat straddling the bomb in that bit, which I mean, it does totally work. I mean, it's so unbelievably cheesy. I think if it was anyone other than Jack, it'd probably be it'd be laughed off the screen. But because it's Jack, for some reason, it just totally works. It's so cheesy, and he's just like bye, and then Rose works out that actually he's saying bye because he's gonna blow up, and then we get a great scene, don't we? Where I mean, everything's wrapped up, and then you think, okay, that's it, and then you get that great scene of Jack ordering protocol whatever, and it's a drink because he realizes he hasn't got any. He's got no escape. He's got to detonate the bomb, but he can't do it any other way than to blow himself up. And he says to he's having a little chat with the computer, isn't he? Like, what's the chances of my survival? And she's like, 100%. Captain Jack will blow up. He's like, oh well, let's have a drink and before I blow up. Then my last 2 minutes of my life, and then I mean, again, this is the brilliance of the direction by James Hawes. Just when you think, Jack, that's it, it's panning back, Jack's in his ship having his drink, about to blow to smithereens, the camera just keeps going back, and we're actually inside the TARDIS, and what an amazing shot. It's like, what? So the Doctor's there saving him, and it's just another moment where you're like, can this episode actually get any better? And it does, because then they start doing a bit of a dance around the TARDIS to Glenn Miller, and you're like, it's just one bam bam brilliant moment after another. Just that ending, I was just like, I was almost in tears of joy. I was just like, this is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate, because like the last 10 minutes it's just ear to ear grinning, and you kind of catch yourself grinning like an idiot as well. You're like, but you just can't help it because it's so feel good.
It's the music, isn't it? It's when the camera's panning back into the TARDIS, and it just slowly fades in, and you're thinking, what's happening? It's because the Doctor's playing Glenn Miller. I mean, just amazing.
It's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
So we sort of jumped ahead a little bit there, but that's cool. So, I mean, in terms of overall story then, thumbs up, big thumbs.
Absolute big thumbs up, yeah.
Good stuff. Let's talk about some cast members. So I want to talk very quickly about the guy that sort of trapped Nancy in the living room. Because that's an interesting scene. So
it is a bit,
one of the things that does pop up in conversation about this story is like the sexual nature of the story.
The Moff just can't help himself, can he?
You can tell that he's had a few martinis with Russell T Davies before writing his script, and because one of the things that and if anyone that's seen when they did the really cool Doctor Who Confidential stuff around here,
it's a great show.
Yeah, they do say on there that the majority of the episode is a metaphor for sex. So the Doctor dances. It is basically a metaphor about, making love, essentially. And we also have this sort of opposite sort of thoughts around it. So when Nancy's trapped in the living room, so we've got the owner of the house, the big grumpy guy.
Yeah,
and
he's going on about like reporting her and stuff, isn't he?
That's right. He said the police are on their way and all that. And then he starts, coming across holier than thou. He's like, I work hard to put the food on the table. This is like the sweat on my brow, is what puts this food. And then Nancy she's so cool.
She's so good in this.
She's great, isn't she? She's basically like, I'm not so sure it's the sweat on your brow, because, and then she's like, he says something about the butchers.
Oh, she says everybody thinks your wife's mucking about the butchers, which is why you get lots of extra food. But we all know that isn't true. He goes, because it's you that's messing about with the butcher. And he's like, oh my God, what? And she's like, oh, there's the sweat on your brow.
It's brilliant.
She's so strong in that scene. Yeah,
she's great. Yeah,
totally turns the tables on him.
Yeah,
because he's asking for it though, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely, he is asking for it. Yeah, so and that's really good when she's like, I want some wire cutters. I'll have a look around your cupboards. And all that. So she's really cool in that bit. But that scene is almost like it's the only bit in the episode which is sort of slaps you in the face about sexuality and stuff. It really because the look on the guy's face that he's been found out is just amazing. And, the way that she's just like, you haven't got anything on me, mate, because, I'll happily tell the world about your sort of shenanigans. Yeah, spot on.
I was surprised by it back in the day, back when this went out.
Well, a lot of people were. I
do remember sort of thinking, oh, that's a bit in your face for Doctor Who. I probably wouldn't think so much of it now because television's just, it seems like anything goes on TV nowadays. But back then I was a little bit like, oh, that's a bit shocking for Doctor Who. Yeah,
and it's so that's like
it comes out the blue, doesn't it?
It does.
It's it's not obvious,
and it's very. You would never expect that would be the conclusion to that scene. So it's very much, and I'm sure that's what RTD. I'm 100% sure of it. Okay. Yeah. And then, so that's the actual theory and the way that they use, they word things is very much metaphorical. So the Doctor takes great offense, doesn't he? That Rose is like, she assumes that the Doctor doesn't quote unquote dance.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whereas
the Jack clearly does with anyone.
Jack dances
with everything,
quote unquote. With anyone. Yeah. And we also have so the Moth also kind of references this in The Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah, which I hadn't realised actually.
Yeah, and I only realised when I looked on Wiki last night where the line is, "Here comes a Time Lord." When every lonely little boy must learn how to dance, which is also a very metaphorical kind of thing. So the Moth's clearly going somewhere.
Yeah, he's got it all going on in his head, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got it. So I'll be completely honest with you. I did not pick up on any of this the first time I watched it.
No, nor did I.
I was completely oblivious to the whole... The huge metaphor that's hanging over the entire episode. I was I was just like, one of the funny things that my wife always jokes about is whenever we go out anywhere or anything, and I happen to be talking to a lady or a guy, and she's like, they were so flirting with you. And I cannot see it. I just cannot see it at all. I'm just completely oblivious to all of it. I had that exact same thing going on when I first watched it. And it wasn't until I I think after the third time I watched it, and I stuck on the special features and I was watching Confidential, and they mentioned it, and I was like, oh. I was just like a little kid. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. I didn't realise.
Yeah. That was the same. Totally innocent. Totally went over my head. Yeah. I do love the bit where the doctor's like, she's trying to get into dance, and he says, "Rose, what's he say? I'm trying to melt concrete here or something." And I just thought it's such a blokey thing. Not now, love. I'm doing the, I'm doing the gardening. I was like, it's just love the fact he's like, trying to put it off. He's like, "No, I'm busy, darling.
Yeah,
can't do it."
And it's kind of cool at the end where the doctor does actually unmetaphorically start dancing.
Yeah,
he's happy. Everyone's saved. He's got his mojo and he's dancing away. It's very cool.
He does. He comes out with a good line as well. He's like, he says something about Jack, doesn't he? He's like, but would Jack rather dance with me or something? I can't remember what the line is, but it's a really good bit where Rose is like, I think he wants to cut in, and the doctor's like, yeah, but does he want to cut in with me or you?
That's it.
In other words, who does Jack want to dance with? Yeah.
And that sort of kicks off the sexuality side of things for Captain Jack, doesn't it? Because he's clearly not fussed at this point.
No.
He's happy to dance with anyone. So
anyone and everything.
Yeah. Did you spot the Bad Wolf reference?
No, I didn't, but I read it this morning because, I always get Wiki up just to see if there's anything I've missed. No, I didn't. It was on the bomb, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the on the bomb that Jack's brought down to Earth or whatever. I didn't see it. So what is it, written in German or something?
German, yeah. The bomb that Jack is straddling quite proudly.
Yeah.
It's called Schlechter Wolf. That's what's sort of spray painted on the side.
No, I didn't spot that. I'll have to have a look next time I watch it.
Yeah, which translates to literally into Bad Wolf.
Mm.
And something else I didn't realise, I didn't notice this at all. But on Mickey, Mickey's got a website.
Yeah.
Who is Doctor Who? And on the unit website, they also carry, there's reports on their website about unexploded bombs from World War II. And the bombs are called Schlechter Wolf.
Okay, no, I've never noticed that.
Yeah, so that links in nicely as well.
Yeah, right. No, I didn't see it written on the side of the bomb. I should have to. But I love the fact they did that.
Yeah.
Because it's again, it's so subtle that I think, well, as I did, blinking you'd miss it. So, but I love the fact they've done that.
Yeah, I reckon that was also an RTD-ism as well.
Oh, I expect so. Yeah,
because I think the Moffat would be like, we need to put a massive sign with a neon arrow pointing to the fact that this is a big story arc, and RTD's like, no, not on my watch, sunshine. Get out of it. So yeah, I think overall, story wise, all of these things just all jump in, into the pool together, and it's awesome.
It is, yeah. It's great to see what's his name, Richard Wilson, coming back. Because I thought we'd seen the last of him. I forgot that we get. He does sort of pop up for a couple of lines at the end.
Yeah.
Because he's such a good actor. I love Richard Wilson, but he's like, obviously he gets healed and he's just doesn't know what's going on, does he? And that woman comes up to him and says, "My leg's grown back," and he's like, "Are you sure?" That's a great little bit of humour in the middle of all this stuff going on. It's good.
I was expecting the line though. Were you expecting it?
Yeah, my leg's grown back. I don't believe it.
He was great. Yeah, it was good. Let's talk about Nancy.
I only laugh so much because I know he probably, if he's listening to anything like this, he'd probably hate it. Oh, stop. I've done other work.
Nancy.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I think she goes from strength to strength as in terms of her performances from The Empty Child, because she was brilliant in that. But in this one, she stepped it up another gear almost for me. She's very, very, and it sort of all culminates with that bit at the end where she's hugging her, her now son. We realise it's her son. And like the scenes with the guy in the house, she's just brilliant. The scenes where she's with the little group of kids out in the street, the really creepy bit where the typewriter carries on.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a great scene. Yeah.
After the kid stops typing, it carries on, and she's basically severing ties and saying, I can't be with you guys anymore because it's putting you in danger. So I'm off to the bomb site, and they don't know if she's going to come back. Is she going to her death? Is she, what's going on? And she plays that really well. And then towards the end, where the doctor's saying to her, you were pregnant, and he sort of figures out, doesn't he? The doctor realizes that, she's the mum, and she breaks down. It's quite emotional. And then when she sort of embraces the boy, You know, it's all good stuff. But her performance throughout was just brilliant. I loved
she's
it.
cracking in it. Yeah, she's great in this. I was going to say I can't remember if I saw. I don't think I saw that twist coming. It's difficult to say now because I have watched this quite a few times over the years. But when I first watched it, I don't think I saw that coming because all the way through she's referring to him as her brother, isn't she?
Yeah.
And then obviously it's revealed that actually she's older than she looks, and it's actually her son. But I don't know. Can you remember the first time? Did you see that coming? I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
I totally didn't, mate. I just assumed that the kid was attracted to her because they were brother and sister.
Yeah.
Which is obviously intentional. You were meant to not, think that, that it was written that way. But I totally didn't see that.
So it's a good twist, that, isn't it?
It's great. Yeah. And she plays it so well. Really well.
Yeah.
What was her name? Florence Hoth. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. Let's talk about the two army chaps that unfortunately for a short time get turned into the Gatsby. So we've got the guy who's, physically ill on the table, and the other, the colonel or the general, whatever, he doesn't give a crap, does he? So when Nancy gets handcuffed to the table, because she's broken into the bomb site and she's been captured, so she's handcuffed to the table, and there's a soldier literally dying of some kind of illness in front of him, and he's just like, the army general, he's a general or something.
Yeah.
He just sort of wanders off.
Yeah, he's like, I've got more important things to do, isn't he? He just leaves it, get on with it, sort of thing.
Yeah. He just wanders off, leaves Nancy handcuffed, and she's bricking it.
Terrified. So. Yeah.
So that guy was good. I mean, he played that, the transformation from, because he's really struggling. She's saying to him, I can't be around you. While he's changing and so on. And then you have the inevitable bit where he's like, Mummy, and he starts to change. And I thought he played that quite well.
I don't know where they found him, but he was really good for that short scene because he looks sort of ill because he's all sweaty and he's, like you said, doing the mummy. But he acts it really well, doesn't he? As I said, he's only in that tiny bit. But I don't mean this in a nasty way, but he's got very prominent features. So he's quite an odd looking guy to begin with,
right.
Which I think really adds to the horror when he sort of opens his mouth because he just looks scary anyway, doesn't he? And going into the transformation, obviously we all know what's coming. I always thought we saw the gas mask coming out, but we don't quite. I don't think, do we?
Not from him. We see it from the other guy.
The other guy. I think I always get those two scenes mixed up because with the other guy we see the full transformation, and the bit with the eyes and stuff looks brilliant, doesn't it? It's horrific when the other guy transforms into the gas mask, but with the other guy, he does it all through. It sounds silly, but he does it all through acting. I don't think we actually we don't see the transformation, but we think we do because he's sort of so it's so cut to the point when he's about to.
That's right. Yeah,
sort of in your head, you think you see it. So he was really well cast. I don't know I don't know who that guy was, but he was really good in that scene.
He was very good, and. The other guy was a lot more sudden. So the guy who was at the table with Nancy, that sort of happens over a couple of minutes, and you can see him sort of physically struggling to hold it all in, and then it just sort of gets the better of him. But the other guy, a few minutes later, who transforms, that's really sudden with him because sort of Jack approaches him, and he's really confused. He's like, "Are you my mummy?" And then literally within like 20 seconds, he's changed into a gas mask person, a zombie, the gas mask zombie, as they call him. But the transformation, the visual effect was really good, where his eyes sort of morphed into the gas mask and the thing comes out of his mouth again, like we saw with the Doctor in the previous part. It's great stuff. And they played it. I think those two actors, and it annoys me that I can't find their names because it's listed on the DVD, but they're not listed as like army people. It's just their names, so I can't pinpoint who they were. But fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I didn't expect it as well. I mean, as I said, when Jack first goes up to him, you think he's going to sort of have a go at Jack. What are you doing here, or something like that? So when he does turn around, he's almost in this sort of hazed state, going, "Are you my mummy?"
Yeah,
it's like, back off, Jack, back off. It's a really good. Yeah, again, it just brings another edge of excitement to the story. Which.
Yeah, it's great. Let's talk about our TARDIS team plus one.
Yeah.
So Captain Jack. I think that he couldn't have played his sort of opening story any better than this.
No.
John Barrowman just nails it, and you can see why a lot of people took to the character and why it went on to be quite popular and with Torchwood and so on, because he's just got this knack of playing a bit like the Doctor has, really. He's got this knack of sort of flitting between very serious and very funny. But I found that Captain Jack's humour was a bit more sarcastic than the Doctor's. So there's a bit, in the clip that we played where, he's like, a wall didn't stop it, why would a door? And there's a bit quite funny when they're trapped in the room and he just sits down on the chair, before he teleports off to his ship.
Yeah.
He just sort of sits down and he's sort of having a laugh and a crack, and it's like imminent danger, but he's having a laugh, really. And then we have we have those sort of funny, sarcastic moments, and a bit at the end as well that we mentioned where he's in the TARDIS, he's been saved, and
I love that bit.
He's got a nice grin on his face and everything's happy. Then we have that quite emotional scene, really, where you think he's going to die because he's got the bomb on his ship and he's trying to go through the motions and the options. Is there a way to save himself? Is put it in an escape pod. And it's like, there is no escape pod.
One.
And he's like, well, I'll get in it.
For me.
Yeah, for me. He's like, well, there isn't one. And, orders a drink and stuff. And you think, oh, no, he's a really cool character, but they're going to kill him off straight away. So that's another cool twist as well.
It is good. And I don't feel, he's sort of slipped into the part straight away, and he doesn't feel like he, you don't look at it and think, oh, you can tell it's his first story. He's not quite got the character right yet or whatever, or he changes later on, and he just is straight away, he is Captain Jack, and it's as if he's sort of read the script, thought, right, I know exactly how I'm going to play this guy. And he's gone for it. And
he hasn't changed it really the whole time he's played him. Even on Big Finish, he's still really consistent. So I really like Barrowman in this. Really good.
Yeah, it's a good first story for him, I think.
Yeah. And a great character as well. Really good character. And you can see why he's campaigning heavily to try and bring Torchwood back. And I think there was something in the news yesterday or the day before. Somebody interviewed him very recently and said, what do you feel about Series 10 and so on? And he was like, I really want Captain Jack to come back into Who. So he's
desperate to come back.
He is. He really wants the character back.
Why doesn't the Moff want him back? Or why hasn't he brought him back, do you think? Because he is desperate to come back, isn't he? I mean, he's made no secret of it. He's practically said, I was told, what was it? They had him and the Moff had a bit of a
that was
mild fallout not that long ago, didn't they? Because Barrowman said on stage something about, well, I've been told now that, I can't remember what it was.
That's
basically
right,
the Moff said, don't want you back or something. I can't remember the ins and outs, but
so
Barrowman was a bit peed off.
Yeah, so Barrowman went for a couple of meetings at the Beeb and said, we cannot let the character just die, just the last time Torchwood was on. That cannot
Torchwood,
that cannot be the last time that we see Captain Jack on TV. It cannot be. And I think they went through it, and it turns out that the Moff was basically, John Barrowman said the Moff was like the hurdle that we couldn't get over.
That's right.
But then the Moff put a statement out saying, well, it's got nothing to do with me, didn't he? Do you remember? Like literally the next day.
It all got a bit awkward, didn't it? Yeah.
So it is interesting, but I'm not surprised though, because with the exception of the 50th Day of the Doctor, the Moff never mentions anything really in the RTD era.
No, he doesn't actually, does he?
He
really?
hardly references any companions from then. It's only like the Day of the Doctor where everything sort of gets thrown in and he's happy to go with it. But other than that, you never hear of Martha, Mickey, Jackie.
No.
Nobody really.
No, that's true. No, he doesn't. No, he's just created his own little universe. He's pretty much stuck to it, isn't he? Yeah.
Keeps it separate. But yes, Barrowman, I really hope he does come back at some point. Maybe Chibbers will.
He will. I'm sure he will.
Bring him back. Yeah.
Sure of it.
Rose.
She's
Piper. She's
all right in this, I think, because I think in the first part we felt she didn't really get a lot to do apart from a bit of dancing in front of Big Ben. But she's got a bit more, because there's a bit where she saves them at the start, isn't she? And they don't really say thanks, and she's like, well, thanks wouldn't go amiss. Like I have to do, do I have to do everything around here? And so, and that lovely scene between her and the Doctor when they do the dancing and when they're trapped in the room, and she gets a bit more to do in this, Rose, and she's not irritating. She's just involved in the action nice scene between her and Nancy as well when they're mending the barbed wire fence, and Rose is saying to her, look, stop worrying. I shouldn't be telling you this, but you're going to win, okay? So stop, because Nancy's a bit like, oh, well, what's the point anyway, isn't she? Like looking up at the sky and all the Zeppelins burning and blowing up.
That's
and she's
right.
So what's the point of anything anyway? We're going to be speaking German this time next week. And Rose, comforts her and tells her when she shouldn't really, that actually they
spoiler.
do. Yeah, a little spoiler alert. But again, it's a lovely scene between Rose and Nancy, and I think Piper's really good at those scenes. So I liked her a lot in this. Thought she was really good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think she's a bit flirty still with both the Doctor and Jack. A little bit. She's a little bit flirty. She's a bit sassy. She's very up for a bit of dancing. Not quote unquote. She literally is up for some dancing, especially at the end. She's happy to throw some shapes around with the Doctor, which is good. But I thought she was all right in this. Yeah.
Now, who knows what went on after the camera started? Who knows what went on between the Doctor, Jack, and Rose after all that dancing? We'll never know. But yeah, she's good in it. She's a bit flirty, but it's a nice performance from her. I mean, I love the bit where she says the world doesn't end because the Doctor dances. So it's just, it's a nice line.
Yeah, indeed. And then let's talk about Chris Eccleston then. Let's finish up with him. So one of his best performances, I would say.
Absolutely, one of his best. Yeah, he's bang on it. He's serious when he needs to be serious, and when he almost seems full of joy when he's like, I'm on fire, and he really is. I was thinking, God, Chris, you are on fire. You're absolutely nailing it at the minute.
Yeah.
I think it's one of his best performances in the series. Without a doubt, I think he's superb in it. Yeah.
It's one of those, I mean, I think we've mentioned it already, but it is literally one of those times where you're just fixated on him and his performance, especially in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Yeah. I mean, he's like it anyway, but that last 10 minutes, it's just mind-blowing. How he's just, he's sad and he's unhappy, but then he's really, really elated and jumping around, and he's funny. And it's just a joy to watch. And it's those moments there where you just think, I know he went on to David Tennant and that was all good, but it's just those moments where you think, it would have been so good to have a second series out of Eccleston.
Yeah.
Just for those moments like that alone.
Absolutely agree with you. I mean, just like there's moments towards the end where he's trying to work it all out, and there's a beautiful shot of him just turning to camera and he doesn't say anything, but he gives one of the brilliant Eccleston steel looks of seriousness. You know what I mean? He just looks to camera as if he's thinking, right, it looks really serious and dark. And he's a great actor, Chris, anyway, but I think at this point he's really rocking and rolling as the Doctor. It is such a shame he felt that he didn't want to continue, because episodes like this just showcase how brilliant he is, and he seems to be really into the story as well. And I'm trying to think because I find Chris good. I can't think of a story where he's not particularly good. I always think he's very strong as the Doctor, but there was one we reviewed recently where we felt like maybe he wasn't into the script 100%, and I'm trying to think which one it was. Do you remember? It was Chris, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I seem to remember we were saying we felt because he's always good, but we felt he perhaps wasn't giving his all in it, and I can't think which story it was now. I seem to remember we said he's still good, but not 100%. Whereas in this, he seems to be fully invested into the story and just giving it everything.
Yes. What was that? I remember us actually
saying
that. The long
game,
as well.
maybe could be the long game, possibly.
Anyway, there are the odd story where you do, and maybe that's the conflict that he had with the producers and the makers, because he has gone on record to say, hasn't he, a few times, that the reason why he left was because the production, he just didn't agree with certain things, and it was a bit of it was chaos, during a lot of the filming, and he just didn't click with them. But so maybe those episodes are the ones where he really didn't agree and just couldn't get on board with what was going on. But there's
a director he particularly likes, isn't there? I can't remember who's that director he always bangs on about. He said if they come back to direct the 50th that he would consider it strongly, and I can't think who the director is, but there was somebody he particularly thought was good, and I think he, without naming names, he basically said some of them weren't as good. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I think he got on better with some directors than others. But as I said earlier, James Hall's direction on this is amazing. So I assume Chris got on well with him, but he certainly gives a very good performance anyway.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's just great stuff to watch.
Yeah. He's good with the comedy bits as well, isn't he? Like I said, that end scene in the TARDIS is lovely when he's dancing around the console, and he looks because that often gets turned into a gif, doesn't it? Him doing that.
Oh yeah.
Sort of dad dancing, I suppose you'd call it. And but even in those scenes, that's the good thing about Chris is he's great when he needs to be serious, but he's not always brilliant with the comedy. Sometimes he sort of pulls a silly face in some stories where you think he's not always great with the comedy, but in this one he nails both. He's just the way he flicks from one to the other is excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention before we get on to our scores?
No, not really. I mean, it's very rare that I get an episode that I just can gush over and over. I mean, I just can't say enough positive things about it, really. So no, I haven't really got anything else to say. It's just a great conclusion. Really enjoyed part 1, but I think this is an even stronger part 2, if you like. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get on to our scores, shall we?
Okay.
Who's going to go first? I think it's me.
Yeah, sorry, very dramatic. Yeah, go on.
It was, wasn't it? It was like something's going to happen.
Very dramatic.
Oh, it's only the scores. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
I wrote 9.5, but I can't think of why I'm taking 5 off, so I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Because I struggled, because I wrote 9.5, but then I'm thinking, but why am I knocking off half a point? There is nothing I don't like about this episode, so I've got to give it a 10.
Okay.
I just can't think of any reason to knock off half a point. I mean, I did, as I said, I struggled last night because I was thinking, why is it not a 10? I can't think of anything bad to say about this episode, which is very unusual. So I'm actually going to give it a 10.
Do you know what? I'm thinking the same thing. Why did I put? Actually,
but I did the same. I wrote 9.5. It's just literally because this morning, and I was sort of thinking about it again. I was just thinking, but is it a 9.5 or is it a 10? I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking.
I can't think of anything bad.
I'm not going to change it because I wrote that down initially.
Yeah.
Maybe in my head I'm thinking, is there a perfect episode anywhere?
Well, that's it. That's the thing I was thinking. But yeah, because I was thinking 10 is saying it's perfect, and is it perfect? But I can't think of anything bad about it, so I am going to give it a 10. But I did write 9.5 last night. I just changed it before we recorded this morning. I thought, no, I'm going to give it a 10.
Yeah, fair dues, mate. And I think The Empty Child, we both gave that a 9.
A 9, yeah.
So a 10 from you this week, a 9.5. I would say the average for this as a two-parter as a whole would be 9.5.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff. Right, what did our beautiful listeners think? Let's kick off with an audio review. This is from Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Garen from the Big Blue Box podcast. How you guys doing? Welcome to my review of this episode. Again, I returned very much so on the first part. Episode 2 is really good because I love the way it starts out in the hospital. I feel like that is one of the best Doctor Who scenes because you see all the gas mask zombies or the nanogene affected emptiness of the people. As well, you see the potassium joke. Always eat bananas, kids. They're really good for you. Good source of potassium. Also, you see like a gunfight. I think not like an actual pew pew gunfight, but I think the Doctor and Jack have a little dispute over the sonic gun and the sonic screwdriver. As well as we see the conclusion towards Jamie, and we find out that Nancy is actually the mother, which is a great reveal. I feel like all the characters are great here, and just for this once, everyone lives! And I mean, that line is incredible. One of Who's best. And again, this episode kind of rounds it up. One of Who's best. I'd probably for this episode a 9 out of 10, giving the overall two-parter at 8.5. But yeah, we of course Richard Wilson wasn't actually in the second part, which is unfortunate because we didn't get to see it. I don't believe it. which is one of the greatest lines ever, I would say. Good old Victor Meldrew. But yeah, apart from that, guys, I will see you guys all soon. Sorry, this one is a bit rushed. It's really late at night. But yeah, I'll see you guys all very soon. Have a nice week, and I'm loving the Hawaii weather. Thank you, Adam.
Nice one. Cheers, Adam.
Cheers,
Alex. Alex, sorry.
Go to your room.
Go to your room. Yeah. Over on Twitter, Twitter user Davros, Dave Davros 1736.
Dave Davros.
He says, I love the Doctor Dances. As an amazing finale, and to see the Doctor related is great. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, cool.
Yes. William Gilchrist says, part 2 of my favourite new Who story. In my opinion, this is also Stephen Moffat's best writing for Who.
Yeah.
Yep, I would agree. Adam Pink on Facebook says, The Doctor Dances is a great conclusion to one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. Eccleston's second best performance as the Doctor, beaten only by Dalek, picks up well from where it left off and has a great ending before the Everybody Lives became a tad repetitive in future Moffat stories.
Yeah.
It's gritty, dark, suspenseful, very funny, and all with a few dodgy special effects. What more could you want in an episode of Doctor Who? 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the effects were quite good, actually, so considering.
Yeah, they weren't bad. Yeah. Sammy Satine says, "Are you my mummy? I only asked because you just told me to go to my room."
Yeah.
The Doctor, Rose, and Captain Jack narrowly escape the empty child after 9 tells him to go to his room. We find out Nancy is actually Jamie's mum, and they manage to turn all the gas mask zombies back into people, blow up the ambulance, and save Captain Jack from dying. After all, 9 says, everybody lives, Rose. Just this once, everybody lives. It's not one of the standout moments of the episode, not only because... it's one of the standout moments of the episode, not only because it happens, but also because of one shining moment. 9 isn't suffering from PTSD from his time fighting in the Time War. He's smiling and so full of joy that you realise how depressed he is the rest of the time. Absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yeah.
Yeah. Joe Sweeney says, brilliant from start to finish. Started off well with 10 ordering the gas mask people to go to their room, which just sums up Eccleston's Doctor. Quite like the Doctor's trick with a banana. The child's bedroom scene is quite creepy. I thought Eccleston was excellent. He looked, he was enjoying himself. Billy was very good. Gas mark, very scary. Great effects, and the Doctor with nanogenes in his hands. Such a happy ending. The Doctor bringing Nancy and her son together. Again, even with the Doctor's quote, just this once, everybody lives, and also saying Jack becoming a temporary companion. Nice to see the Doctor dancing with Rose. Overall, a great episode. Can't think of anything negative. It is fantastic. 9 out of 10.
Excellent. Cheers, Joe.
Dean Jones says, excellent conclusion. All of the performances are great. Cracking script, nice humour, richly detailed characters. Death is an unfortunate necessity in Who sometimes, but just this once, everybody lives. One of the Doctor's best stories. This absolutely fantastic episode and two-parter gets a 10 out of 10.
Another 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Awesome.
Let's do another audio clip. This is Owen Daly.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're both well and enjoying the show this week. So, part 2, The Doctor Dances. This episode does not fail to deliver the high standards that was set from the previous episode. The cliffhanger is resolved quickly and effectively, showing the Doctor's presence in the episode, which I love. I love how Captain Jack and the Doctor seem to be both trying to outdo each other, trying to impress Rose the most. But one thing I've got to say about Jack is his sonic gun is a tiny bit ridiculous. But that said, it's not as ridiculous as the sonic cane, sonic sunglasses, or the sonic trowel. Yeah, less said about that one the better. God's sake, Moffat. The gas mask zombies continue to give creepy presence throughout the episode, and I love this story's conclusion, which not only wraps up the story perfectly, but provides a fantastic piece of drama with Nancy revealing she is the gas mask zombie's mum. The Doctor states everybody lives, which is a really great piece of writing by Moffat, and it's kind of ironic seeming he's killed most of the new series companions, but then again he does bring them all back to life. But it's still a fantastic episode, so I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10, not 75 out of 10. So thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll see you all next week.
Nice.
Cheers,
one,
Owen.
Nice one, buddy. Some good points there. Back on Facebook, Charlie Turner says, everybody lives, Gary and Adam. Just this once. That quote right there is a thing of beauty, and so is this episode. It's flawless. I love every single minute of it. Words really can't describe how awesome it is. 10 out of 10. which is a first for me on the podcast, and hopefully I'll rate more episodes of Perfect 10 in the future.
Cheers, Charlie.
Lewis Palmer, my preferred half of the story. It's joyful and happy, but still has the scariness of part 1. Nancy's story is wrapped up very well, and the characters are brought full circle in a lovely way. I love the line, "Is it possible you miscounted?" And I adore the ending of the Dr. Rose and Jack dancing in the TARDIS. It's such a feel-good ending, especially with the Doctor saving Captain Jack. The idea of the tape stopping without the audience knowing is inspired. It's terrifying and such a clever, subtle technique. Better than part 1, which has an amazing watch already, and that's 9 out of 10.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Jeff Waddle says, after the near perfectness of the first part, this is no way lesser. This is in no way. Hold on, I'm going to start that again. After the near perfectness of the first part, this in no way is the lesser part of the two. Still creepy, joyful and suspenseful, and the resolution to last week's cliffhanger. I defy anyone to say they saw that one coming. The best two-parter of New Who by far. From Jeff.
It is a cracking. It's got to be up there as one of the best, doesn't it?
Yes.
I meant to ask you about the resolution. Did you think it was good? Because like Jeff said, it was totally unexpected, wasn't it? I was thinking, okay, they're probably going to run away or do something, but just that whole go to your room, the Doctor figuring out that he can actually, because it's a kid. I thought that's again clever.
It is, really clever. And as somebody said, it's inspired writing from the Moff. Miles Mackenzie says, such a great lead on from last episode, not rushed and made sense, a well-made plot, and one of the Ninth Doctor's most remembered episodes with his Everybody Lives line. Rose and Captain Jack were great, and the gas mark zombies are creepy. Overall 9.5.
Okay, 9.5.
Last audio clip. This is from the Who Addict. This is Matt Rowney.
Hey there, Gary and Adam. I hope you two are well. Now, the Doctor dances is just like the Empty Child. It was a fantastic story, and it continued perfectly from the first part. It's very easy for the second part of a two-part story to kind of lose pace and lose its intensity and to slow down a little bit. But if anything, the Doctor Dances picks up the pace even more. What I did forget to mention in the Empty Child review was the transformation scene when Dr. Constantine changes into the gas mask zombie. For some reason, I thought that happened in the Doctor Dances, don't ask me why, but that was an incredible scene. But yeah, part 2, just as good. I love the scenes in the hospital when they're getting chased around by the Empty Child and the other zombies. I think that what a perfect setting for that to happen in a hospital that was dead dark. It was brilliant and really scary. But what I love the most about this episode is that throughout all the scariness, all the creepiness, it still manages to have the most upbeat and happy ending. And that's what I love about Doctor Who. It brings out so many different emotions in you. And I loved the ending with the nanogenes, of course, curing everyone. You know that line, everybody lives. It's just such a happy ending. And the revelation surrounding Nancy and that she's the little boy's mother as well is beautiful. Everything is finished off so nice in such a happy mood. And of course, Jack ends up travelling with them at the end as well, which is great. So, yeah, The Doctor Dances, again, like The Empty Child, is a fantastic story. And I would probably give it a 9 out of 10 as well. And overall, the whole two-part gets a 9 out of 10 too. So, yeah, take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Matthew Rowney.
Nice one, dude. Thank you very much.
Listens every week. Thank you, Matthew.
Last few on Facebook now. Gavrick Sawyer says, a favourite of mine from the new series, though it did scare me a bit as a child. The story was great, the monster was creepy, and the characters are written really well. 8 out of 10.
Cool.
Joseph Howarth says, finally, I've been waiting all week to review the next part. Anyways, The Doctor Dances is a brilliant conclusion to this two-parter, and following up from my review of The Empty Child, I can now say that this two-parter story is in question is not only one of the best in Chris's time as the Doctor and one of my favourite stories from New Who, but possibly one of Moffat's best that he's ever written for Doctor Who besides Blink. This part is not as scary and is a bit more light-hearted than The Empty Child, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad in a sense. The episode provides so many iconic scenes, like the Doctor and Rose dancing in the TARDIS, the gas mark zombies turning back into humans at the end. Practically everything about this two-part story in general is just brilliant from start to finish. Captain Jack is just hilarious, and I have to wonder why the good captain himself hasn't been used that much in the new series recently. If you're a newcomer to Doctor Who and you want to start with an episode of the new series, try The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. You won't regret it. Everything's brilliant. Everyone's brilliant in fact, the whole thing's brilliant. And you might also say that it's fantastic. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, yeah.
And lastly on Facebook, Jason Thayer says, I really wish people would cut Moffat some slack. You know what? There are actually some good moments in Capaldi's run. Anyway, this episode is a great wrap-up. It's an example of how the Doctor makes better people out of everyone he encounters. Just look at how much Jack Harkness changes because of his influence. I doubt he would have given up being a con artist if it weren't for the Doctor. It really is a fantastic story and one of the most heartwarming conclusions in Doctor Who. 10 out of 10.
Another 10 out of 10, yeah.
Another one, yeah. Did we have anything on your Geeks Handbag page about this?
Yeah, I had a couple, yeah. Patrick Sherwood says, I love this story so much. I love it. I think it's great, so I'm going to give the story a 10 out of 10, says Patrick. Another 10 out of 10. And Kevin Mullen says, truly magnificent. The conclusion to the previous episode's cliffhanger is very clever indeed. The subplot of Nancy being the child's mother and not his sister is beautifully written by the Moffat. And the scene where the Doctor proclaims everybody lives is life-affirming. 10 out of 10. Again, simply fantastic, says Kevin. And that was it for the Geek Sandbag.
Okay, so high scores all round.
Yeah.
So I would say, with our scores and our listener scores, this has got to be one of the highest rated that we've done.
It is.
Overall.
It is, yeah.
So the average being, 10 really, 10 and 9.5s.
And it's aged really well, isn't it? As I said, it still stands up really well as a great piece of television, I think.
Yes, mate, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next week, what are we going to be reviewing then?
And I was having such a good day. Next week. Well, the good news is it's the fourth Doctor.
Yay.
The bad news is it's the Sunmakers. No, I jest because it's not one that I watch very often. It's certainly, I don't remember it being one of my favourites. But yeah, so Sunmakers next week. Always interesting to watch one that I think I don't like. Maybe I'll change my mind. Can't really remember much of this one, apart from there's a little bold chap in the chair and someone gets thrown off a roof. That's about as much as I can remember from this. So yeah, next week, the Sunmakers.
Wow. Yeah, so
I have watched this for years. It's going to be fun.
Get that watched so you can send us your thoughts and reviews on that. And I think we're going to do there for 133.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us and listening to episode 133. We'd really appreciate your thoughts on the Series 10 trailer as we start the countdown, the 1 month countdown to the start of Series 10 on the 15th of April.
Yes.
It's going to be good. So our sort of views and attitudes on Series 10 were not necessarily negative, but just sort of up in the air a little bit, and didn't know what to expect from the Moff and so on. But after seeing this trailer, we're up for it.
Yes, definitely up for it.
Yes, indeedy. Let us know your thoughts on our review story next week, The Sunmakers. One that I've only seen the once, so it'll be good to pop that back on and see what the situation is with Mr. Baker.
Yeah.
Mr. Tom Baker. Head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. From there you can listen to all of our previous episodes, and you can also link off to all the social stuff. And you can also subscribe on iTunes. You can link to that from the website, or if you are in iTunes, in the podcast bit, or on the podcast app on an iPhone or whatever, just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast and you'll see us pop up there. So just give us a subscribe. And if you are an iTunes listener, if you could spare a minute to give us a review on there, that would be amazing, because that really helps us. That would be awesome. Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag. Just do a search on YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah.
The Geek's Handbag.
Geek's Handbag. Must do a bit of editing later for the old Geek's Handbag.
I was going to say, mate, you want to get something up there sharpish.
Yeah.
No, seriously, check out Adam's channel. It's got so many good videos. I say this every week, and it's absolutely true. There are so many good videos. You can just spend, literally half an hour's gone by just because you're perusing Adam's videos. Really good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Cheers.
So remember to check that out. The countdown has been done for series 10. Let us know your thoughts on that as we approach that, because we will be kicking off our reviews of each episode as that goes along. So it'd be good to get your thoughts and feelings and to catch up on that. So until next time, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,